They said he was better than Messi. Faster, sharper, more decisive, and more prolific in front of goal. By the time Bojan Krkić turned 17, he had already scored more goals than Lionel Messi had at the same age in Barcelona's youth system. He was the golden boy. The one La Masia whispered about in awe. A boy born with the ball at his feet and the world at his mercy. But today, he's barely remembered. A fleeting memory for some, what could have been, for others. His career never exploded into the galaxy it once promised to reach. Bojan Krkić vanished from the elite, not with scandal, not with a dramatic fall, but with quiet footsteps that led him away from football's blinding lights. This is the story of the prodigy who was meant to surpass Messi, but disappeared instead. Bojan Krkić Perez was born in Linyola, a small town in Catalonia, in August 1990. His father, Bojan Krkić Sr., had been a professional footballer himself in the former Yugoslavia, and later worked as a scout for Barcelona. From a very young age, it was clear that young Bojan was gifted. Exceptionally gifted. He joined La Masia, Barcelona's famed youth academy, at just 9 years old. From there, the fairy tale began. His stats were mind-bending. By the time he left the youth system, Bojan had scored over 900 goals in youth competitions. Not even Messi, who had joined La Masia around the same time, could match that tally. As he rose through the ranks, the whispers grew louder. He was the next big thing. The jewel of Barcelona. The one destined to carry the club into the future. And then, in 2007, at just 17 years and 19 days old, Bojan made his first team debut for Barcelona, breaking Lionel Messi's record as the youngest player to ever do so. Later that year, he became the youngest goalscorer in the club's history, scoring against Villarreal in a way that showed all the signs of a world-class forward. The world had taken notice. Spain had taken notice. But behind the explosive rise was a pressure so heavy it was already beginning to crush him. As his fame grew, Bojan became a reluctant star. He didn't like the spotlight. He didn't crave the interviews. He wasn't ready to carry the weight of a club like Barcelona, let alone be hailed as the next Messi. In the 2007-08 season, he finished with 10 league goals, more than Messi managed in his first full season. Still a teenager, he was already being called up to the Spanish national team. He was expected to be part of Spain's Euro 2008 squad, but something unexpected happened. Something that would reveal the first cracks in the image the world had built around him. Bojan pulled out of the national team call-up. The reason? Anxiety, pressure, panic attacks. At the time, few knew how deeply he was struggling with mental health. He didn't talk about it publicly. The world just saw a young star who had suddenly become unavailable. But inside, Bojan was breaking. The media, unforgiving as always, speculated and criticized. But he kept playing. He kept smiling. He kept pretending everything was okay. Then came Pep Guardiola. In 2008, Guardiola took over Barcelona. And with him came the birth of one of the greatest club sides in football history. But it also brought competition. Intense, unforgiving competition. Messi, Henry, Eto'o, Pedro, and later Zlatan Ibrahimovic and David Villa, all fighting for spots in attack. Bojan was no longer the boy wonder. He was now a backup, a rotation player, someone waiting for scraps in a team built to dominate the world. Guardiola, known for his demanding tactical system and his ruthlessness in decisions, didn't favor Bojan. He preferred structure, positional discipline, pressing, traits that didn't always align with Bojan's free-flowing, instinctive style. And slowly, Bojan's minutes dried up. He was just 20 when he realized he needed a way out. In 2011, Bojan left Barcelona and joined Roma. It was meant to be a new beginning. A fresh chapter. A league that valued technical skill, intelligence, and flair. But Roma wasn't ready to build around him. And Bojan wasn't ready to carry a team either. He showed flashes of brilliance, beautiful goals, clever touches, moments that reminded everyone of what he could be, but they were just that, moments. Not consistent enough to build a legacy on. From there, his career turned into a nomadic journey. He moved to AC Milan. Then to Ajax. Then to Stoke City. Yes, Stoke City. In the Premier League. Each move seemed more surreal than the last. Once tipped to be Barcelona's crown prince, Bojan was now playing mid-table football in England, battling for survival in wet, windy games on cold Tuesday nights. But oddly, he was enjoying it. In interviews, he said the move to Stoke allowed him to enjoy football again. The pressure was gone. The expectations were gone. And for a while, Bojan played freely. He scored beautiful goals. The fans loved him. He found peace. But the injuries came. In 2015, he tore his ACL in an FA Cup match against Rochdale. It was a devastating blow. He was 24, still young, but in football years, he'd already lived a lifetime. After Stoke, he was loaned out again, to Mainz, to Olives. None of the moves worked. The spark was gone, and slowly, so was Bojan. In 2021, he made one last move, this time to Japan, with Vissel Kobe. A reunion with Andres Iniesta, his old teammate. A poetic, quiet end to a career that had once promised the world. And in March 2023, at just 32 years old, Bojan Krkić announced his retirement from football. It was quiet. There were no grand farewells. No tributes. No emotional send-offs in front of 80,000 fans. Just a press conference, a few headlines, and the end. But Bojan was at peace. In interviews after retirement, he opened up. He spoke about anxiety, depression, pressure. He revealed how deeply his mental health had affected his journey, how he was never able to just be a footballer without carrying the weight of expectation. He said something powerful. Greater than, the real me, the person, was never ready for the life the world wanted me to live. And that, perhaps, is the most honest truth of all. Bojan Krkić wasn't a failure. He wasn't a flop. He was a boy with extraordinary talent who was asked to become something he never wanted to be. A savior, a star, a legend. And in the end, maybe his greatest achievement wasn't the goals or the records. Maybe it was surviving the pressure, walking away, and choosing peace over glory. The story of Bojan is not one of tragedy, but of humanity. It reminds us that not every Wonderkid is meant to conquer the world. That sometimes, being better than Messi at 17 doesn't mean you'll be Messi at 30. And that football, at its core, is still played by people, not machines. Bojan Krkić may have vanished from the spotlight, but his story will never be forgotten. Because behind every headline, there's a heartbeat. And behind Bojan's story, there's a lesson, one more important than any goal ever scored. If you found Bojan's story as fascinating and heartbreaking at the same time educative as I did, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I dive deep into football's most incredible untold stories, every day just like this one. So if you love football beyond the headlines, this is the channel for you. Subscribe now and don't miss what's coming next.